welcome to SideQuest Source Season 2. We're back because we haven't been banned and our wives let us.
This is SideQuest Source!
I am feeling
We like letters.
Feeling particularly extreme today.
We like lettuce?
Yeah, because we haven't been banned and our wives let us.
All right.
Yes.
That's an interesting way to interpret it, and I accept that. That's now canon.
Yes. All hail lettuce.
Or in
Yep.
Mac's case, girlfriend, but you know.
Well, fiance.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Congratulations. I can imagine a subdued round of applause there.
Wait. I got a better round of applause here. Oh, wait. Wrong,
Wrong.
wrong
Oh,
button.
I think it's the green one.
Yeah, was it the green one?
Or the yellow one.
Oh, you fucked up already.
Congratulations, Max. you're and your fiance. Wah, wah. There we go.
Yay.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I wanna-
It's only been like 2 years.
Yeah, well.
Okay. So, what have we been up to? It's been a while since we last recorded.
Yep.
We've had Christmas in the way. Got through that. That's very nice. Things are still tough with the coronavirus situation, so meeting up is not something we get to do all the time. So this is a very valuable opportunity just to spend some time with some friends and talk about the crap that we normally talk about anyway.
Exactly. I mean, we've been playing online quite a lot and trying like different kinds of board games online and role playing and such. But it is nice to see real faces too.
Yeah, it is nice to see someone
Not
who doesn't share a house with me.
Yes.
Not just the blank face of your wife and children. You said you like to see real faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, instead of your
That's
doll family.
It's like body pillows and a shot mannequin. What would you like for breakfast today?
Speaking of body pillows, I was reading Reddit and one guy like posted this like thing about like, oh, I'm so depressed. I don't know what to do. I'm going to cry. My mom walked into my room and stole my waifu pillow and like threw it away.
Mm.
I'm going to send you guys a link to a bit of stand-up by a British comedian called Greg Davies and the story of when his mum made him a teddy bear. And it's tangentially related to this, and it's a charming, lovely story that will ultimately completely destroy your faith in humanity.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, so yeah, his mom made him love a teddy bear and hence a fucking the bear.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's what you expect.
yeah.
Yeah, Max was like,
with your setup.
I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's what I do.
The joke was obviously going there.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
true.
Definitely,
True,
yeah.
yeah.
So, nice to play with friends, and of course, this is the perfect segue for me to say that I've been playing with other people as well. I've been cheating
What?
on you guys.
Traitor.
Yes.
You,
Through the joys of
you
Facebook.
slut.
Yes. Yes, I
No slut shaming.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. It was shameful. Through the joys of Facebook, in one of the many international groups that I'm in, there was someone posted, does anyone here like playing board games? And my obvious answer was, me. And we talked about a few board games, and it turns out they absolutely love Dead of Winter as well. So I went
Good
over
people.
to this nice couple's house, and there were 4 of us there in total, and we played a game of Dead of Winter. We've talked about this frequently before in the podcast. This is the game in which Max famously betrayed us all. He's grinning at me, and I have to say, I got to be the traitor this time, and it is as satisfying as you can imagine. It's wonderful. Right at the last turn, through a bit of luck and a bit of planning, I managed to completely let the side down, destroyed morale, stole all the supplies, and escaped with enough to feed myself and no one else. So the camp was left undefended, without food, ammunition, or fuel, surrounded by zombies, and I was running for the hills with my own personal stash, and it felt good. I mean, the whole time I was worried, am I going to be able to destroy them badly enough for them to fail? And then right at the last turn, one of my guys got eaten by a zombie. Everyone got sad, and I had just enough resources to set up my own camp, and off I went.
So essentially, you took up all that pent frustration and anger from what Max did to you, and then you took it out on random people.
Took it out on strangers. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And I think, that was an act of catharsis for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I still hate Max. But
But it feels good, right?
It feels good, yeah.
I was also during Christmas time. I introduced my brother and his kids to Who Goes There.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Hold on. Yeah, and that was a really fun game too because they really got into it. They hadn't watched The Thing yet, but after the game, they were like, "Oh, we have to watch The Thing. We have to see what it's all about," and they really enjoyed it. But what was really good about the game was as the game progresses and people get more and more paranoid. I was the one that, I got infected first, but I played it cool. I didn't tell anyone, and then around 2/3 way through the game, because people start like really like looking at me, like, oh, it's probably him. And my brother's kids were like there because you always have to then bunk with someone. They'd always bunk with each other because they had like that sibling pact. So I was like, oh yeah, well, two can play at that game. So I infected my brother. And my brother was like, you fucker, but fine. Yeah. And then we were both playing it cool until I realized that these two are going, now they're not trusting either one of us. So I have to attack. So I do like a full-on attack so they can see I'm the thing, and then they kill me. But when you do the attack, you can maybe spread it to someone else. Maybe they have to randomly pick from the cards. Actually, I don't remember if I actually knew. I didn't know if one of them got picked. Actually, yeah, it was even unknown to me who then might have gotten infected again or got infected afterwards. So after that, my brother's daughter, she had the med kit that could do the test. So she was like, okay, who to pick because she can only do it on one. So my brother's like, no, I'm normal, I'm fine. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna test her. She's gonna test her brother, and she tested it, and then afterwards, like, he's the thing, you have to kill him, and then he's like, no, I'm not the thing. And my brother's like, oh my God, like he had, because in the end they had to go on the helicopter and they had to choose who goes. And both his kids are begging him, like, Daddy, it's me. And he's just like, oh my God. And I'm there sitting next to him going like, fuck, what have I done? They're both begging him, pleading that take me. And in the end, then the daughter couldn't, she had no choice. She had to fight him. And then she got killed. And since my brother's son didn't know that my brother was infected as well, two things went on the helicopter and we all failed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that was my risk in randomly infecting, but I was hoping that it would have gone the other way around because that would have been so good if she would have killed her brother. This sounds so horrible.
I know.
Yeah, but like in the end, then she would go on the helicopter with her dad. It's like, oh, we made it, and then you'd like open up like,
Daddy, no.
Yeah. Man, that was good. And they're like, after that, they're like, man, this was so good, such a great game. So yeah.
How many players can you have in Who Goes There?
I think it was a maximum of 5 or 6.
Okay, because I mean, obviously, my situation, I've got 3 kids, but the 2 youngest one are really small. But when they're a bit older, it's going to be nice to play these games with them. And it's just a lot of games like that. There's a 4-player cap on it.
Lately, there has been quite a bit of 4-player caps, which is a bit of a shame. I have seen some games have like an add-on where you can add an extra player.
Yeah,
but I've seen. Well, we've tried a couple of games that have had a cap and we've kind of extended it, and there's been absolutely no.
Yeah. Well, it comes to a game balance issue. I mean, we've played Sheriff of Nottingham with an extra player just by slightly reducing the hand size, and the baggie that the person who's playing the sheriff then goes to the extra player, and that works. But there are other games where the real estate available on the board is a hard cap, like that Crusader Kings thing. Yeah, that's obviously designed for a maximum number of players, and if you add more players in, they just don't have the territory. It's hard coded into the game. There must be this many players at most. So yeah, I mean, Monopoly, as terrible as a game it is, it works well with 2 players, as 4 players, as 6 players.
Yeah.
So
are you actually saying something positive about Monopoly?
oh god, yeah, but the paper money currency is awful. There you go. I've cancelled it out.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, paper money and stuff. I mean, I heard you were going to get an upgrade for a game.
Yeah, actually, it's a game I've kickstarted called Human Punishment, which sounds fun. It's
It sounds exactly like something you'd get.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's a sort of cyberpunk mystery game where there's like human players and cybernetic players, and then you've got to work out who's who. It's done by Godot or Godot. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Games. It's a German company, and just I haven't read much about the rules of the game, but I looked through it and it looked beautiful. It had a really nice setting and it wasn't stupidly expensive. And I thought, okay, this is a game I want to play. So I kickstarted it, and then I looked at all the stretch goals, and each stretch goal was increasing the production quality of the game. And one of them was poker chips for currency. And yeah, so you consider like a tier of game bits. When we're talking about money, for me, lowest tier is paper notes. I hate paper notes. You know, one spilled drink and it's all ruined.
Yep.
They rip. You know, when someone goes to take a note out of a bundle, it all rips. Tactile, they're not very nice. And in a game where there's hidden currency, you can instantly see what people have got. If there's a game where you're supposed to know how much money people have, paper currency is okay for that.
Yeah.
But if there's any element of like hidden resources, I don't like that. Then you get things like cardboard tokens. I mean, or like cardboard coins. So African Star, it's got cardboard coins, and then you push it up a level, and you have the nice thick heavyweight cardboard tokens that we have in some games. They're okay. Then you get plastic coins. And then the 2 highest level for me are metal coins or poker chips, or like specific like credit tokens. Something
But the poker chips have to then be poker chips.
they have to be they're like the
weighted
clay
ones.
polymer ones. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, they're really nice. But I was thinking, when it comes to games, like what production component setup bits do we really like to play with? What are the things that make a game stand out in terms of build quality? It's like a good thick heavyweight board with nicely designed art.
Or I'm starting to warm up to neoprene.
Yeah, the neoprene playing mats.
Yeah.
They're really nice. We've got a
That
few
is
like
true.
that.
They work surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if there's an upgrade in Kickstarter to get neoprene playing mats, I'm going to go for that.
Yeah, I highly suggest them because, I mean, just like a good mouse mat or any kind of neoprene surface, they also survive a bit of spillage.
Yeah.
And also a pretty good amount of wear and tear.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about any like folds or anything like that. I mean, most of the time you have to kind of roll it up, but I quite like the tactile sensation of neoprene mats. When you're playing something on it, it kind of makes the pieces stay there. They don't slide around very much.
Yeah, and also it's less susceptible for an uneven table, for example.
That is true.
Yep.
Yeah, and it stays put too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't slide.
And it's nice to pick things up and take them off it and put them down on it, rather than sometimes you get like playing cards that are stuck to a surface and you have to slide them around. With the neoprene, it's easy to lift things up because there's a little bit of give.
Yeah, it squishes a bit.
Another one is, you mentioned playing cards, is card quality.
Oh, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, very much.
Because you get some cards that are just basic flimsy paper or cardboard cards, which are, they're okay, but then after a while they start wearing out. But then you got those cards that have like, I forgot what it's really called, but they almost have like a textured surface on them.
Like a linen backed card or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And those are really nice because then they can like really withstand a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But for me, my guilty pleasure is metal coins.
Metal coins and metal tokens. Just that bit of extra weight.
It's a bit of extra weight, but also it's like a prop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not the extra weight. It's the coolness, the way they feel. I mean, they have just some more oomph. They have some more gravity to them.
Yeah. They have more worth. Suddenly, you're actually thinking like, well, I got all these shinies. I don't want to really spend them. But when they're like kind of paper, then it really doesn't matter. Which I kind of maybe that's not part of the game, but I kind of like it. It just takes me into it more. Speaking of which, when Sea of Thieves, no, not Sea of Thieves. Well, anyway, that pirate game I kickstarted.
Yeah.
I got the neoprene mat and gold coins.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll get to start playing that soon.
Yeah. I mean, for me, game immersion is huge, and a lot of game design is focused on the eye.
Mm-hmm.
You add a soundtrack in there.
Yeah.
Now you've got like a second sense pulling you into the game. So, yeah, you've got all the design for the eye, and then you add some music or sound effects or just sound ambience, and you've got a second sense pulling you in. If you add a tactile quality, the weight of the coins in your hand, the feeling of the tokens, that can pull you in. All we need now is something to excite the smell and the taste to really pull you in. So if we're playing the, Arabian Nights game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some nice spicy food, some Middle Eastern food.
Yeah.
Just to pull us in.
I mean, I have my soundtrack that I did, which is great.
Absolutely.
But and put some incense burning and,
It just really pulls you in, yeah.
Yeah.
There was I can't remember the name of the game, but there's just other, like, speaking of production quality, there was the Blade Runner game where the box is the game.
Yes.
Where you
We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
We have to talk about that. We have to
get.
get that game.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that looks
exactly.
really good.
It looks
And it's for
amazing.
free too.
For the life of me, I can't remember the name of the game. But for instance, it's for 2 players. There's the interviewer and the interviewee, and you each have your roles. You have your cards, and the cards tell you, for example, how you react to different things and what kind of questions you want to ask, and then you progress and you try to figure out whether the interviewer is trying to figure out whether the interviewee is a replicant or an actual human.
Yeah, and
the box itself is amazing because the box sort of opens up and it's got all this like wonderful art on it, and everything plays out directly from the box. So there's no setup per se. You simply open the box, and then some of the artwork there is like it's the game board itself. So in that sense, also production wise, I really like it because the box isn't merely a container for things that you then spread out, and then you have the game. The box itself is the game.
it plays a part in the actual gameplay. And I mean, to an extent, that was true with Betrayal Legacy, that you don't take the stuff out of the box and then play. You are always going back into the box, and there's this little envelope, and don't open this envelope until you're told to. And the bit where we had to lift out the plastic insert, and there was some more secret mission cards stuck underneath
That
it.
is true, and that was really cool, and really liked it. But still, the box is still a container.
Yes, it's not fully integrated into gameplay, but it's not put away during the game.
That is true. That is true.
But yeah, this Blade Runner game that we saw the video of, I mean, the way it unfolded and was the game, that was really nice.
Yeah, I mean that's also really good. Like for production values, it's innovative design in new ways, because it is such a traditional way. You have the box and it contains the game and the game pieces, but then this way, okay, so how about the box is the game? So in many ways, I think other games could do that. So if you open the box, then for example, the bottom of the inside of the lid is the
Dice
game
tray.
board. Dice tray or game board, for example.
Yeah, I mean,
Here we go. It's called Inhuman Conditions.
yes,
that's the one.
Did you ever see the very, very old Games Workshop game called Space Fleet? It's pre-Battlefleet Gothic.
I don't think I did.
So, it was an okay game. I think Battlefleet Gothic's a far superior spaceship combat game. Star Wars Armada is even better, but Space Fleet had a really nice mechanism. The lid of the box was the targeting system. So rather than rolling dice to see whether a shot hit or miss, you dropped a handful of dice from a minimum distance into the lid, and there were different zones drawn onto the lid of the box, and where the dice landed told you whether it hit or miss, and the result of the dice told you how much armor it got through. So it was actually a gameplay aid. And I mean, other things, I mean, you can easily imagine a box that folds open and turns into like a dice tower.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, that would be really nice. And I mean, boxes at the moment are still coming in fairly thick, heavyweight cardboard. That's great. But when will they come in wooden boxes with? Oh yeah, that's the box. When will a game come in wooden box with nice brass furniture that's got hinges and little latches and things? That would be superb.
Yeah. I mean, it could be bound in leather like a book.
Oh yes.
I mean, that is something that is also is for production value would be really cool. It's like, yes, the game itself, the components, yes, but the box should also get more love, because ultimately, for a lot of its time, it will simply be in your home, the box itself. So you might as well use it as a design element and a decoration.
Yeah,
it's bound like a book. It will look great in your bookcase.
Is it a game that you put on a shelf sideways to reduce the space it takes up, or facing forward to show off the artwork and the production?
Yeah, and in that, I mean, like a wooden box would be really cool. Really like brass corners and stuff. Oh.
I have that one box I have saved from I got from my 40th birthday, the wine box, basically, and I'm going to use that now. I'm going to pimp it out and make it like with brass corners and everything and a proper latch for my Cards Against Humanity set.
Ooh,
absolutely.
nice.
I see that.
Yeah, I'm going to put like green felt on the inside and everything, so it's like really like when you open it, it's like almost like a poker deck, a very important poker.
Oh, that's nice.
So open it up, it looks like a really fancy version of Toss a Pig.
Yes, exactly. Really fancy version of Toss a Pig.
And you got this beautiful, high quality, fancy box, and inside is the scummiest, nastiest party game ever.
Yes, that my family loves now.
Oh God, yeah.
I'll never forget that first time we played that, and they were just like, "This game is so dirty. Let's play it again."
I think that's pretty much everyone's reaction to that game.
Yeah, it's like, I'm allowed to do this and say this. It's great.
On production quality, before we move on, I have a question. How do we feel about miniatures versus standees?
That's okay. I'm always a miniatures guy, because I mean, Games Workshop, Warhammer and stuff, that's always going to be my thing. I love minis. However, I don't like unpainted minis.
Yeah.
And for me, when I see unpainted minis that are gray, I mean, they're lovely and nice to look at, but I just got to paint them like I did for the Seventh Continent.
Yeah.
Dead of Winter, they have minis, but they're not gray. They're colored, like different, yellow, red and stuff like that. So I could paint them.
Well, Dead of Winter has both, because the zombies are minis, but the characters...
Were the zombies minis?
The zombies are minis, but the characters are standees.
The zombies were mini. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There was nice, heavyweight, thick cardboard, full color standees. So you've got both. And yeah, I mean, the problem with miniatures is you have to paint them. And if they're a nice, high quality, injection molded miniature, that's great, and it's a joy to paint. But if it's a slightly less quality miniature, and again, one of the things I bring up is in this game, Human Punishment, that I've got, they're going for acrylic standees. So rather than being cardboard, it's transparent plastic, but with the picture painted on the inside.
Let's see, that's cool.
I think
that is cool. I mean,
that is cool, because that basically combines the two. You got a standee, but it's so fancy that it kind of looks like a hologram.
Yeah, that was like
that was
like
good for me.
I want that.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I mean, and for standees versus minis, I'll have to agree with you guys. Yeah, that's so that an unpainted mini ends up looking like a plastic blob, no matter the detail on it. So you have to paint it to get the detail out, and then poorly cast ones, it's full of flash and stuff. So it'll be hassle to even get it painted to look good. But still, I mean, as long as it's not really cheap, cardboard quality and stuff, then the standees are fine, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Sea of Legends, that's the pirate game that's coming out soon that I'm hoping to get soon, and it has a shitload of beautiful minis, and the thing is that I'm gonna have to paint them all, and it's gonna be hell. Or I don't know, hopefully it'll be fun, because I mean, I love painting, but man, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking if the zombies are all minis and they're all gray, for example, you could just drop them in some brown, what was it called, ink?
Yeah, with zombies you can just do a basic, but Sea of Legends, it has all individual minis, and they're like all different pirates and stuff. So
Yeah, well, I was thinking for people who don't want to paint or aren't that comfortable with their own like painting skills, what would be a good way to get them to have a little bit more depth? And I think there was this paint type called ink for Games Workshop, which then and so it's very very like watered down paint, so it fills up all the like nooks and the cracks and the joints.
Ink wash,
ink wash, yeah.
So an ink wash would just give them a lot more depth, even to like.
Oh yeah. I mean, Army Painter, for example, they started their whole concept on just doing quick army. You know, like you just dip them into the lacquer, which would also fill in all the gaps, and then done.
To take it a step further, Games Workshop have released a series of paints which are a mixture of paint and ink, and the idea is you slather on one coat and it self-shades. I'm trying to remember the name of them, but the idea is that you use a colour primer, and then this this new paint whose name I can't remember, and it's mostly done. You can slap on a few highlights or do a bit of dry brushing if you want, but it's a self-shading paint.
That is really cool. Yeah, but I was just thinking, like, for games that, for example, Steph mentioned, where you have colored minis, like you have a green guy, there's a red guy, there's a yellow the person and stuff. I mean, if you just ink them, they'll just get more depth, but still have the color codedness, so which makes it easier.
You know what? I will give that a go. I will just dip the shit out of one of them and see if it's worth it. And if it isn't, then that just means I have to paint them all.
Yeah, because they're usually color coded for a reason, so that they match with their cards and other tokens and stuff. So if you just, I was thinking like simply inking them will then just give some more depth to that.
I was thinking, I have 3 months of Father's Leave coming up. But then I thought like, I'll use that to paint. But then I realized like, no, I have to actually use that to take care of my kids. So
I can take care of my hobbies. Oh shit, I've got the damn kids.
Anyway, I'm going to go through like the list of stretch goals for this campaign, and I think it's wonderful because the game was funded at €25,000.
Yeah,
this went 50,000 an extra objective card, so add a bit of extra content. That's okay. 70,000 linen finish tokens. So improve the game quality. That's nice. 90,000 extra event card in the game. That's good. 120,000 spot UV print for the game box. There's now going to be some hidden UV stuff on the game box.
No. Spot UV doesn't mean hidden UV stuff. I thought that in the beginning. That's
what is it then?
Spot UV on the game box means that you have those boxes that are matte and then the logo is shiny.
Oh, that. Oh, that's nice. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
145,000 new weapon card in the game. That's nice. 165,000 thicker player boards. So they just use thicker card stock. Mm-hmm. That's always appreciated. 175,000 two new event cards. That's okay. 190,000 larger resource cubes going from 12 to 14 millimeters. Now, that doesn't sound like a huge amount, but it makes them significantly bigger in terms of volume, and that's nice to hold.
Yeah.
197,000 extra game program cards. That's a game mechanic. That's nice. 205,000 linen finish on like all the basic game cards.
Yeah, but I mean, nice. this is pretty normal nowadays when it comes to Kickstarters and board games that they have these funding goals.
Yeah,
and where they just
the game gets nicer.
The game gets nicer, which is great because I mean, some might argue it's like, well, why don't they just start off with that? Well, because it's expensive.
I mean, most likely they did, and then they like cut down. Like, so what is actually the bare minimum we need to be able to launch this game? And that's where they start from, and then they just hope like the. Yeah.
But there's a couple more that I wanted to mention specifically. Custom dice. I mean, they're still a normal 6-sided and that's a 12-sided dice.
Yeah.
But now they're made in colours and fonts that match the game. And that's nice.
7-sided dice.
Dun, dun, dun.
There is a way to do it, but it's more of a roller than a dice.
Yeah.
Your basic polyhedra are set, and there's not a 7-sided one, but you can make a little n-sided roller. That's fine.
Yep.
And then what was it? The nicest one, heavier poker chips, upgraded from 7 to 12 grams.
Yeah.
So you've got a bit more weight in your tokens.
Well, that's
really
almost
good.
That's almost twice the weight. So
yeah,
that's really good.
That's very, very.
And then upgrading some of the standees to acrylic rather than printed card.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
so, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, there are some things I've kickstarted where there are no stretch goals. and it's a complete game. It's ready. We're just going to make it, and you go okay. And there are lots of ones where when you kickstart it, the stretch goals are, we'll put more content in, more gameplay.
This reminds me, you kickstarted which is just purely added stuff for the Mars game.
Yeah,
Terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars. Yeah, it's just nicer game with 3D printed
Everything's
tiles.
3D
Everything's going to be 3D. Yeah, and it's I like the game, and just having like a slightly nicer version of it appeals to me.
Yeah, I mean, that was really, I mean, it was either going to be you or me getting that game.
Oh yeah, one of us was going to do it for sure.
Get it, yeah. But that's a good thing. I mean, I think it was called The Rise of Atlantis, another game that's coming out soon, which I'm really looking forward to. Is basically a city building game during Atlantis's heyday. Ooh. And in the middle, it had a statue of Poseidon. And it's also a model. It was a gray model. Now they gave you a certain amount of options. You could get the models pre-painted or unpainted. I saw the pre-painted. I wasn't really interested. I think I must have mentioned this before. But then there's also a metal version of the Poseidon statue, which looked brass. And I was like, nah, I'm going to paint it myself. It'll be fine. But then when I saw the production value, like their first production version of it, and even they were like, oh, damn. And I saw it, I'm like, fuck. So I was like, noodles for the rest of the week, or actually the rest of the month. I'm ordering this thing.
Like, I need it.
I need
a metal Poseidon.
I need a metal Poseidon statue the size of a bloody, Oscar, thing, and I'm gonna have it in the middle of the thing. And I'm never gonna see it. I'm only gonna ever see it while we play the game, but it needs to be there.
Yeah, there's a spaceship game that I'll be getting at some point, and one of the extras that you could buy after the Kickstarter promotion, after campaign, but through backer kit was: would you like the regular plastic spaceships, or would you like the metal cast spaceships? And it's like, I would like the metal ones, thank you. How much extra is it? So okay, yeah, back to noodles. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess we agree then that not bigger is better, but like just more stuff is better when it comes to board games.
Well, I mean, better is better.
Better is better.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, because I don't care if the game has more stuff, but if the stuff in the game is just high quality, I'll just appreciate it more. Like, yes, metal tokens, metal coins, heavier poker chips. If the box itself would be made of wood and all the, like, imagine having tiles and because you can essentially make these like plastic metal combination for casting, so it doesn't actually be like actual like pewter. So that way you could also have like technically sort of like cast like cold casting like brass and copper and other metals, and you can add those into your little your hexes on various games. And
I mean, I had that one pirate game that we played like once, and I played it with my friends in there. It's still a fun game. It's very simple, but it's the Dead Man's Doubloons, the pirate fighting game. Where
you sail around the island and
you have the meeples and they're on the island, and then you have the plastic ships sailing around the island.
I remember. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was fun. And then you had the metal doubloons, and then
that was really nice. And that actually reminds me of I also really like wooden pieces. I mean, a simple meeple is fine if it's a simple meeple made of wood is better than a slightly more complex plastic meeple.
Wood has a nice tactile feel to it, and as long as it's not too lightweight wood. If it's got a little bit of density to it, that's really, really nice.
Yes.
I mean, Catan's the best example, the most basic example, because some Catan sets have got wooden pieces, some have got plastic pieces. Wood's always nicer.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're really simple components, but just it's nicer in wood. And again, see, now I said something nicer about Monopoly earlier. Those plastic houses and hotels for Monopoly, horrible.
Atrocious,
yeah.
They are the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But then
so is the game.
Well, yeah.
Other thing to mention, we talked about dice, because there's always dozens and dozens of Kickstarters offering different dice, and there was one, and I kind of want it, but ultimately it's more just a nice thing to have than to use as metal dice, because in playing any sort of game, if you've got metal dice, they are just going to roll all over the table and destroy everything on the table.
Destroy the table itself.
Yeah. I mean, they are offering tungsten dice,
Why would you?
I love tungsten. My wedding ring is tungsten. Tungsten is a wonderful metal, but if you have something made of tungsten rolling on the table, first of all, your table is going to be dented to all hell, and secondly, everything on your table is going to get smashed up. I mean, tungsten is, as a material, it's wonderful, and just to own some tungsten dice would be kind of cool, but in terms of practicality, useless. I have aluminium dice. They, on the other hand, are a lot easier to use because aluminium is not devastatingly dense.
Aluminum.
There's a whole debate about this.
Aluminum.
Even Humphrey Davies, who got to name it, eventually settled on aluminium. So,
okay.
But anyway, nice dice. If you have a game that has generic dice in it, I will normally put those dice in my bag of generic dice. But if you have a game that has custom dice, they stay with the game. I like role-play games that have their own dice mechanic. We've just started playing the Star Wars role-play game again, and I'm sure we'll talk about that at a later time. But it has its entirely own set of dice, and I love it. Now, if you've got a game like Warhammer 40,000, where you need a literal bucket of dice for some things, being able to use generic dice, okay, that's probably a good idea. But having a dice that a set of dice that either matches the game in terms of style and typeface and color, or an entirely custom set of dice. Do you remember we played that Doom board game years and years ago?
Long time ago, yeah.
That had its entirely own set of dice, and each dice had different symbols, and you used different dice for different things. I liked that. I mean, I didn't necessarily like the whole game, but just the idea of having custom dice. That's something I think.
Space Crusade had custom dice.
I think Fantasy Flight games are really good with that.
Yeah. X-Wing.
Yep, X-Wing and the Star Wars roleplay games, having dice that are engineered to best fit the game. And I don't want to talk about too much dice mechanic now because that would take up an entire podcast. But I like nice dice, and not just nice.
You cannot lie.
I cannot lie.
And all your other brothers can't deny.
When you see a dice with a nice typeface,
walk into this place,
you get stung. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, I still think that's a squeaky wheel button.
I don't have no idea what this is.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Squeaky birds.
Yeah.
Squeaky birds.
Yeah, just custom dice always feel nice to me. I have a huge bag of generic dice, and now I'm looking at like dice that are nice. They have a theme. They fit in with a particular game, and that appeals to me.
I very much agree.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because dice are a tool used in many games, and then the generic dice will often get the job done. But like we were talking about the production value of how cool it is that the boxes, that everything works together, I think, that it is very nice to then have the dice also fit into the game, fit into the world. I mean, even it is only a generic six-sided dice, to have it actually, like you said, that typeface, to think about the material, think about the colors, how that works, how it all fits together.
So
bone dice.
Yeah, like bone dice or dice made out of gelatin.
Jello dice?
Jello dice.
You just slap on the table, then you have to eat them?
Yeah, like those toys that you throw at the wall and they splat. And then when they like form up again, or fall down, then they fall on the right.
How about this as a game mechanic? The box comes with dice molds in it.
Yeah.
You make your jelly or jello if you're an American that you pour in the night before you set. You take the dice out, you get to roll them, and you have a plate as a dice tray so they don't end up on the floor.
Slap them on the plate.
But at some point, you have to eat your own dice. As part of a mechanic, it's like you take a bite out the dice and then see how it rolls. Like you're allowed to nibble it to change its faces.
Those are your health tokens.
Yeah.
You lose health, you have to eat your dice, and then there's just less to roll.
As an engine building game. Perfect, yeah.
It's some sort of weird like post-apocalyptic cannibal game, like it is your health, you have to eat yourself.
Or
that could be fun.
Ice dice that melt, so that's your time limit for the game. You got to be quick, you got to play really quickly before the dice melt and are unusable.